This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Ashni Linham of Balmung, Chalo Mahola of Behemoth, Derby Periphery of Cerberus. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/limitbreakradio.
Live from Eorzea. Limit Break Radio. With your hosts, Nero.
I demand to know what your penis looks like.
Kahlo.
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just busting balls.
Juxtaposition.
Who else would be the troll?
Ascalia.
But seriously, whenever I'm sad, the only fixer is a mixer.
And Nika.
What are you idiots doing?
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 19. Weekly schedule maintained. I feel so good right now.
Did you not think we'd make it this far?
Oh, no. I
thought we were going to fizzle out after 3 episodes.
I had complete confidence in us, guys.
Oh, yeah, you show it all the time.
Now, was it more that we wouldn't be able to maintain it, or we just wouldn't know what to talk to or about?
I don't know. Little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Because we definitely did not have a private discussion in the office about our thoughts about Heavensward's 3 weeks in a row. That did not happen.
No, we don't talk to each other in between episodes. Like, we show up one day a week and just talk and then leave.
Yeah, exactly. We actually fucking hate each other. Why would I talk to any of these people?
Somebody asked me that on stream the other night. Like, do you guys actually hate each other, or does it just seem that way on the show?
Yes. The answer is yes.
You wonder
yes.
why Nero's always trying to talk us into staying longer and hanging out? Fuck that guy.
So thanks for joining us on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio for our live show. We are, of course, live from Eorzea. Let's send it on over to the studio. Hey, what's up? We are live from Ishgard once again today, right?
Studio's getting a lot colder, I gotta tell you.
Yeah,
it's
right.
a little drafty.
Turn on the heat.
Yeah.
It's not really the studio. It would be more like live on location in Ishgard.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So,
I vote we go live to Costa del Sol, because this place sucks.
well, yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Not a...
Of course you do.
Yeah, for that joke, I'm giving you the cold shoulder the rest of the show.
Boo!
Chill out, Nero.
So...
He's cold as ice.
You know what? Let it go. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Good one, Nero.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give you that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take it. All right. So, welcome to Limit Break Radio. Of course, joining me is our normal cast of characters. We've got Kahlo Landis over here. What's up, man?
Not too much. So, yeah, no, I was planning on saying that I was just chilling, but it's already been used. I can't now.
Back in studio, how's it feel?
Yeah. How was your
hot and muggy? Are you kidding me?
How was your excursion?
A lot better than being here.
Yeah,
I didn't really have to pay attention to you guys. I could get other stuff done, actually be productive, not sweat my ass off.
But think of all the weight you lose just from sweating in here.
Yeah, that's true.
Out of all of us, I'm pretty sure I'm the one that has the least amount to worry about when it comes to weight loss.
I don't know.
Nika, are you going to take that?
I'm just sitting.
Wait. Did Ascalia just call Nika fat? Is that what that was?
No, it's the thing that you did. You called all of us fat.
Oh, well, if the shoe fits.
Does it make you feel any better that we have to do a cam show right after this show? I mean, like, after we've already been sweating in this room for like...
Yeah, maybe in the future we need to reverse order on this one.
Why do you think I dressed up all spiffy today?
Yeah, so you didn't bring a shit shirt for the show when we're not on camera. You're going to sweat right through that thing and then continue to sweat right into the second shot.
We'll see.
So, by the way, yes, we've got the premiere of our new show coming up today.
Right. So I guess I should probably just get naked.
Yeah,
like what I'm doing.
That was a bad.
I'm so glad I'm not there.
That was a bad suggestion. Also joining us, we've got Juxtaposition. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Okay.
It's good. It's guess what? I'm level 60 now, guys.
Congratulations!
I won the LBR level 60 race.
I didn't know it was a
I just
race.
want to point out that
I'm 62.
I just want to point out that Callow was actually undressing.
You're lying.
Also.
You're lying. You're a liar.
Well, what's your eye level?
Yeah, what is your eye level?
Like 157.
Ha!
Okay.
158.
Okay.
Wow.
Nika
The
wins.
race is on.
Nika wins the bigger penis race officially for episode number 19.
I just want to point out that Callow is actually undressing, and everyone else on this cast can look away. I happen to be looking straight on.
You like what you see.
It's true.
And yet you're maintaining eye contact. It's weird.
Even as he's talking to you guys.
Just staring at Callow. How can you pull your eyes away from that? It's difficult.
LBR Callow flirt.
I'm socially awkward.
Yes, also we've got joining us on Skype, Nika Kayanian. How you doing?
Good. Awesome.
I like that body piece, I gotta say.
Me too.
It doesn't match your arms, though. Why didn't you bother to glamour the arms to match?
I'm still farming. It's
Learn to
taking a long
glamour.
time.
Yeah,
No.
but you can't figure out a
weapon.
decent alternative in the meantime.
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's going to be so fast. Why waste the glamour crystal?
Well, your shield hides it a little
Waste
bit.
the glamour crystals?
Waste the glamour. Yes.
Just go buy more.
That 2K, you're out.
Okay, hold on. Is no one like upset or disturbed at the fact that Aniro is caring about glamour? Nobody cares about that. No one's just going to breeze right over that.
Hey, I'm sorry, but it's distracting.
Yeah, Aniro doesn't care about glamour.
Bad.
He cares about how good the show looks.
It's so bad it's distracting. It's so bad that I care. Does that should tell you how Nika?
Actually, that is pretty
Nika.
Also, I will say I got that body piece like 30 seconds before the show, so don't even.
I think in that case, I would have just wore whatever I had on before that did match.
No, I wanted to wear this because it's so cool looking.
And also joining us is Scalia Rayumasa. How you doing, man?
Fresh out of the video editing dungeon.
Yes, and also you were streaming last night. Yeah. I don't why you were streaming so late. I don't know, but
I always stream late. Are you new to the party?
I know. You're like the king of the overnight. Yeah, you're overnight. The overnight shift here.
It just means the California people get to hang out with me.
And the
European and anyone basically not in Eastern time.
Pretty much. He's
the Craig Ferguson of LBR.
I could be okay with that. Craig Ferguson's awesome.
Who's that? Is that the Sham Wow guy?
Wait, what?
No.
What? Okay.
Is the Sham Wow guy dead?
I think so.
No, he went to jail.
No, that's Bob Saget.
No, Bob Saget's not.
You are so bad at pop culture.
Oh my god. You're why are you so bad at everything?
You're bad.
Good one.
Good comeback.
You big joke idiot.
All right, we've got an exciting show coming up for you today here on Limit Break Radio. We're excited that you are joining us here live on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. If this is your first time joining us, make sure that you head on over to our website, limitbreakradio.com, and subscribe to the podcast. We're available on all iTunes platforms. All podcast platforms, including iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So limitbreakradio.com is the place where all of that happens. So coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking more about Heavensward, because why wouldn't we?
Well, I mean, Kahlo keeps saying, like, on third week of Heavensward. I mean,
it's going to be multiple weeks.
No.
Heavensward
is
that's
Final
not what I
Fantasy 14.
said. That's not what I said. Specifically, our thoughts of Heavensward 3 weeks in a row. Oh, well, what do you think about it now? What do you think about it now? We actually have a very specific thing that we're discussing today in regards to Heavensward.
And it's a good thing that I came up with this topic, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Humble brag.
But no, there's
that wasn't even humble. That
there's
was just
no
brag.
humble in that. There's no humble in that. I'm just going to take all of that credit because I came up with all of this topic. So eat it, guys.
I added a bullet point in there.
Good job.
Okay.
Way to go. But we want to get your thoughts here on the topic today, and the way that you can do that is over Skype via the username Limit Break Radio. Add us on Skype and send us a Skype message with your character name and your server and what you would like to talk about. If it's related to the topic that we're talking about, if it's something else that you want to talk about, all of that is valid. Or you can give us a call at 810-515-8715 on any normal ass telephone. But what we're going to be talking about today is, okay, so Heavensward is the first expansion for Final Fantasy XIV. I put a question mark on that because it is.
I would say yes.
It is a bit. Wait, hang on. Let me pose the question first before you jump to answer. It is the first question mark expansion for Final Fantasy XIV.
Well, could you count like 2.0?
And we want to compare how does Heavensward stack up against other similar MMO expansions and how those MMOs have chose to deliver content and what they count as the expansion that's delivered on release day. So, we have a lot of different points of comparison. Of course, we've all played Final Fantasy XI here in this room. But, of course, World of Warcraft, both Kahlo and Juxta have context for, as well as some other MMOs. So that's what we're going to be talking about. If you want to share your opinions about how Heavensward stacks up against other MMO expansions, then send a Skype message over to the Skype account Limit Break Radio or give us a call 810-515-8715. Okay, so the reason that I say the first question mark expansion for Final Fantasy XIV is, do we count A Realm Reborn as an expansion? Because we did have 1.0 as the initial iteration, and you could say for as much as, yes, they did change the entire game, but in a certain context, you could consider 2.0 as an expansion.
I'm going to say no,
Yeah.
because
Wow,
you
everyone is gonna jump all over that.
cannot go back and play 1.0's content. It's gone.
Fair enough.
Like, it's completely gone. And when you have an expansion that expands upon content, not completely overwrites it.
Okay.
2.0 was a complete overhaul of the game, brand new game. First expansion is 3.0.
I would have said the exact same thing. An expansion expands what you currently have, and 2.0 was a complete remake of 1.0.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But you did keep all your levels, items, and gear from 1.0.
Yeah.
And that content you did not go away.
There was carryover. And that's I think that's an important point to note.
The story is still canon. It's still there. It's just you can't go back and do it.
Because
you can't go back and do it.
Because 2.0 did, while they rebuilt the entire game, and you can't go back and do 1.0 story anymore, they did build on top of it. Yes, they recontextualized it and, maybe retconned a few things, but, that 1.0 happened. It's not like they said, hey, this is our new vision of Eorzea. No, 1.0 happened. And so I think that it definitely deserves a special classification.
Oh, yeah, special classification, but I wouldn't call it a new expansion because it was marketed as a new game as well. It's not like, oh, here's the first expansion to Final Fantasy. No, that destroyed.
Well, and if you were to ask Yoshido, do you think he would call it he was a part of the first expansion to it, or would you say he was he remade Final Fantasy XIV? I think he would consider himself having remade the game,
not just expanded upon it.
Right.
Yeah.
Although he also did have a considerable amount of input and narrative input on 1.0, because the whole Dalamun narrative that came out of that came from Yoshi.
Well, because he came in the middle of 1.0's extreme failure.
Right.
So he had to try to find a way to blow up the world in order to remake it.
Right. Well, but
you know what I would call 2.0?
What?
DLC. Dalamon loaded change.
Oh my god!
Wow, that was terrible. Do you have a drop for that? You better have a drop for that. My
that
God,
was
that was
awesome.
That was awful.
That was awesome.
That was awful.
Awesome.
Funny. It's never been funny. It's never gonna be funny.
There you go. That's appropriate. Thank you very much. But the reason that I'm asking the question, it's not just to pose the question abjectly, but when we compare it up to other MMO expansions, what's a fair comparison at this point? Well, is a fair comparison, in terms of like Final Fantasy XI's development, is a fair analog Rise of the Zillart, or is it COP? For World of Warcraft, would it be Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, this game has had development since 2010, and if we say that, okay, we're going to wipe the slate clean, and Heavensward is the first expansion, definitively, then I think the analog automatically becomes the first expansion for any other MMO.
Well, the only thing about that is with 11, we did not get to play 11 pre-Rise of the Zillar. Like, I believe NA launch was with Rise of the Zillar already included. So that's our first expansion here in NA was Chains of Promathia. Like, all other things were just what the game was beforehand.
Right. Well, that's
true, but you can't call Rise of the Zillar not an expansion.
Yeah, it was an expansion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because just because we don't have a context for it as an audience doesn't mean that we can discount it. Because a lot of people are saying that, like, oh, when you look at the amount of endgame content that Heavensward presents, you have to look at what Rise of the Zillar brought to the table and all of that. You can't look at things like COP or draw an analogy for Odd Urgon, because we're not there in the development yet. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what do you guys think is the fair analogy to draw here in terms of drawing, making this comparison?
So Rise of Zillar took us up through Sky and level 75, right? That was all Zillar content.
Yes.
So I think that would be a fair comparison as to where we are now.
Okay, do you guys agree?
Yes, content-wise, yes. As far as what happened between 1.0 and 2.0, I don't know that there is anything out there that is comparative to it. The only thing that pops into my head would be Cataclysm for World of Warcraft, because they completely redid everything. Not to the same level that they did with A Realm Reborn, but they went back and essentially changed everything, and there's a bunch of stuff that you don't see anymore, but obviously is still considered canon.
I think if we're talking WoW, I think this would be almost literally Burning Crusade, right? No? Well,
content-wise?
Yeah.
I guess.
I'd say it's roughly equal.
Yeah.
I mean, how did WoW work in terms of content, though? Did they have everything on release, or did they add things and update patches like 11?
They still add things through patches.
Because my only other context for MMO is 11, and when I think about it, I think most people's most beloved expansion is Treasures of Ottergon. Mm-hmm. And when I think about it, none of the Ottergon content was added on the release of the expansion. They had the storyline and the new zones.
See, one of the problems with comparing it to WoW is they don't really have a quote-unquote storyline. You get your raid, and there's kind of a story going through that, but you don't get, like, cutscenes very often.
No. Yeah, okay.
Although when you do get a cutscene in WoW, it's usually pretty amazing.
With 11, most of the content you were doing was still old stuff. Like, you were still doing Dynamis and Sky and Fafnir and that kind of stuff. So even though Ottergon only had story, and that was its only content, and maybe some merit areas, it didn't matter that all the stuff came late. That didn't come on release.
Oh, are you talking about release? Okay.
I'm talking about on release. So if you think about what Heavensward is, you have to count every expansion,
everything that we have,
everything that's going to come with it in the next couple patches. And when you compare it to something like Treasures of Ottergon, because salvage and all that stuff came later. So if you think about the content Heavensward has now, it's more content than any of 11's expansions had on release, I would say.
Okay, I would say that that's fair. So
wait, now are we counting things like Alexander, because that's not out yet? It's coming very soon, very shortly, but that's not out yet. She said you have
to count things that aren't coming out, that haven't come out yet. But then in the same vein,
yeah, but I don't know. Like, we're only waiting 2 weeks for Alexander, and I think the argument there would be that like that content is pretty much ready to go. They're not. I don't think that they're finalizing the content. They're
giving people a
They're
chance.
structuring that so that the community is not poop socking and people are dying. You know what I mean? Like the grind to 60 is a lot already.
Yeah.
And if if it was like let's do Alexander, like dude, like fucking people would be throwing 72 hours at this shit, and it's like already there's a lot, and you guys are right. There's so much content that they added with Heavensward, like straight out of the gate, that's accessible right away. So much story content, so much narrative, but it's mostly story content. Like once you get to 60, once you get to the end of that, unless you're leveling another job, like there's log grinding, there's two X primals, right? And
and there will be Alexander soon. And then if you think about the way they add the content in the future, like 2 or 3 point blah, blah, blah updates, that's what I would say is comparison to when things like Z&M and Salvage and stuff are added in 11.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's what we remember as endearing from Treasures of Ottergon, but that stuff didn't come out on launch.
That's true. And I mean, like, I don't know, Chains of Promathia was so long ago. Like,
but think about how little was out with Chains of Promathia. How, like, if you think about C being the end game, how long was it until Chapter 7 and 8 were added into COP? It was ages after launch.
And you know what? Actually, I don't think that there's any one expansion that we can definitively say is the end all be all, because it's similar to Odd Organ in the fact that the way that they're releasing the content, is going to be like, they have it all prepared, right? And as it's released, it'll feel like Odd Organ. However, what I remember the majority of from Chains of Promathia, like anything that you think up, the Prometheans, the Tenzin fight, that's all story stuff. So the way that it's been released right now, it feels more like Chains of Promathia because we're all just diving into the story, trying to get as far as we can get until you hit C or afterwards in Heavensward to start actually doing content.
So I mean, I guess I'm going to speak for myself here, but I feel
you should probably do that.
But I'll speak for Nero. I am big and dumb and ugly.
I like swords. No, but I do feel like this is the most content I've ever received on an expansion right out of the gate. From the get-go. I mean, like, I've never felt like an expansion delivered on this level of content from any other MMO that I've ever played, especially not FF11. I mean, people like to go back and paint FF11 with rose-colored glasses, and I think that they forget things like Nika pointed out, that a lot of the content that was so great out of expansions like Treasures of Ottergon wasn't added until subsequent patches. And like those, I think at that point we're coming at 6-month intervals, not 3-month intervals.
We didn't even have all of Assault right away. They introduced those ranks as you went along.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was stuff that was constantly expanded over time. And
but the content in 11 was so hard a lot of the time that you needed that kind of time to get through it. Like Promethean was a nightmare.
That's true.
Getting through that, like last night on stream, I have FF music playing in the background. Promethean's music comes on in the background, and my chat explodes with like PTSD horror flashbacks.
That's valid.
So yeah, like think about it. But sure, C may have come out, but how many people were trying to get into C for years after because of the airship fight?
Not to mention, take Sky and C into account. That was considered endgame. But how much actual content was actually there? There was, like for C, there was Kieran, there were 4 gods.
You mean Sky?
Sky, yeah. Kieran, 4 gods, and then you had, all
Archangels,
the
Divine Might.
The pop items, right?
Yeah, there was Archangels,
Divine Might. There was
Divine
a lot
Might.
of NMs to camp for the different gear that dropped, like the freaking Yin Yang robe. God
But speaking of PTSD,
but the point is, like that was your end game. A handful of bosses that all dropped. Now, granted, yes, I know that all stayed relevant for so long
that you needed full alliances to kill.
Right.
And,
so
11's version of endgame was stand here and camp things, and people liked it and they didn't care. So they could throw little amount of content in as long as you had to stand around and wait. People didn't care.
If you take Zillar, your end game content was Sky. If you take
and Dynamis.
All right, Sky and Dynamis. And then in Promathia, you had C. And then for Odd Organ, you had Salvage. You had ZNMs. Like, there was just so much more stuff that was added through that. And when you look at Endgame now in Heavensward 2, I just feel like there's so many more things to do than just, all right, here's one area with a bunch of stuff.
Well, and that's where 11 took the approach of we are going to add in new content, but the old endgame stuff will always remain relevant.
That is true.
14 needs to add more in because their old content is phasing out of relevance.
That is true as well.
Well, and now that Heavensward is out, I mean, the old A Realm Reborn content is completely irrelevant.
Oh my god! But if you go back and do some of that old ARR stuff, like I went into roulettes, how are people so bad? How is it possible? Like is it just like only the bads are left there now? Because it's so horrible.
I did Sastasha hard mode, guys. Oh my gosh, we wiped 3 times on the first Scorpion boss.
Dude, my roommate wiped on Shiva hard last night. His group died on Shiva hard.
Luck. I haven't had any of those
bad
problems.
astrologians is what it is.
To be fair, astrologians are kind of shitty. They are. We'll get into that later. But we also have a caller on the line.
All right.
We have Inaru of Sergeant Tannis.
Hey, what's up, Inaru?
Oh, hey.
Inaru.
Holy, wait a minute. Inaru, are you actually from Balmung? You're not really from Balmung, right?
He's in our link.
Sergeant He just said Sergeant Tannis. Where did you get Balmung from?
Because all we get is Balmung callers. I think he's lying.
Actually, I switched to Sergeant Tannis to be with you guys.
Oh, there we go.
See, there you go.
There we go.
How sweet is that?
Just checking.
It's Eonru, but that's okay. I'm not going to be that guy.
You just kind of were that guy.
You just were that guy.
Don't worry. If you wouldn't have corrected him, I was about to.
No, you weren't. Shut up.
I always pronounce names right.
I'm laughing because it's not going to happen. Anyway, so what did you want to talk about today, Eonru?
Well, I was going to talk about the expansion dropping in comparison to other MMOs, the general topic.
So what other MMOs have you played?
I've played a little bit of WoW, a good bit of the Old Republic. I played 11 like crazy, like everybody else. So that's probably the 3 that I played the most.
Okay,
when the other ones, but
when you say a little bit of WoW, define that a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I had a couple of characters at max level after Miss Pandaria, I guess, was where I stopped.
Okay,
but I didn't really technically do any of the content. I grinded as hard as I could to get to the max level so that I could do some end-game stuff with some friends that were playing. But that's the extent of it.
That's valid. I would say that yeah, you could classify that as played WoW. I mean, when you say a little bit, like I don't know, I would say I played a little bit of WoW.
Like Nero got to level 10 and quit.
No, 27 and quit.
Okay,
in vanilla.
You're almost to WoW. You're almost to Mount Man.
Well, to be fair, how long it took you when you played to get to 27 is probably how long it takes now to get a couple max level characters.
Yeah.
So,
fair enough.
Not counting the ones they give to you.
I was like, don't you just get one for free now?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I think so.
So what do you think? How does Heavensward stack up against some of the other MMOs that you've played?
I gotta say that I mean, I'm probably a little partial, but I think Heavensward did the best of all of those expansions dropping in one. So, like with 14, the biggest focus has always been on the story leading you into endgame. So they are pacing endgame, giving us a chance to gear up, finish the story first,
right,
and then get ready for Alexander to drop. What is that, next week? That story mode or normal mode, whatever you want to call it.
One more week.
Yeah. We've got one more week until Alexander hits. Yeah.
So there's pacing there. So there's story, and I think that's what the Old Republic tries to do, is focus on their story. That's BioWare's big thing, is all about story. But the end game kind of fell short. Now we know that 14's end game has been top notch, and I think that's what WoW aimed at with their expansion. So there was never really too much story because all of their stuff is all quest text. There's not really anything that's voice acted besides a few cutscenes.
Right.
But their goal is to get your eye level as high as possible, as quick as possible, so you can start progression rating.
That's fair.
And,
you make a good point about 14 kind of being in that middle ground of the story and the endgame content all being good. I've said it before, the Old Republic story is the only redeeming factor to that game, in my opinion. But it was still enough to get me all the way through the game. The story was outstanding, but the end game sucked.
Now, I actually posed this question a couple of nights ago on the stream when I was plugging the show and getting ready for the show. But how many expansions has the Old Republic actually had?
I think they're on their...
They've had 2, right?
Second, yes. They announced at E3 that they're about to launch their third.
Their third, okay. Because somebody had said like 6, but a lot of them, were more like glorified DLC. And so, in terms of just like, in terms of like what you get, day one out of the release of an expansion, say out of Star Wars, Old Republic.
The Old Republic might consider, that fan base might consider, us getting the Manderville Gold Saucer. They might consider that a mini expansion.
Oh, no.
Really?
No.
Is that true?
Is it free to play?
Is that true?
Yeah, Star Wars is free to play. Yeah, I would say that's true. Star Wars doesn't get a lot of
Well, there's a
content.
subscription model, right? Like, if you're doing free to play, you can't send whispers and that kind of stuff, right?
Right. So Star Wars free to play model is the most broken that I've ever
so
seen.
Bad.
It's terrible. So essentially, you're penalized for not subscribing. So you gain XP at a reduced rate. You are locked out of in-game like dungeons and raids after 3 unless you buy more tokens to get in with either the in-game
You don't get as many actions on your action bar.
Right, yeah, you're limited with action bars. It's awful.
And you can't whisper
really
people.
bad.
That's terrible.
It's atrocious. You have never seen anything so broken. Like they looked at games like League of Legends and say, okay, that works really well for them. Let's do none of it. We're just going to avoid that entirely.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's terrible.
I feel like in regards to expansions as opposed to like DLC or add-ons as they call them in FF11, if something isn't changing the status quo of the game, I don't think it should be considered an expansion. If it's not taking you into like a new chapter or a new era.
Add-on is the right word that you use. 11 had like those 3 mini add-ons that they did. Tor would call that an expansion.
I never bought those.
Yeah, see, like you went and did the story, and you got all that cool stuff, but after that was said and done, nothing really changed.
Yeah, I never bought them because there was nothing to do in them. It was like fetch quests.
There was really no reason to do them.
Yep.
The reason to do them was to get a piece of gear that
hideous body armor, dude.
One piece of gear.
One piece of gear that was completely hideous, and you had to like choose. They were like it was like situational.
Like 16 different things you could put on it.
The worst thing though was on Dragoon. If you could get the pants and put haste and double attack on them, and it was like if you couldn't like do Eris's gear, it was best in slot.
Yeah, I know.
It was the worst.
I know. I used those pants for a long fucking
Blitzer pull lane for the win.
What do you feel like about the comparison Heavensward? Like, is it even fair to compare Heavensward to to anything in Star? I don't think I feel like it's not fair to compare it to Star Wars.
While they do have those mini expansions, they do have some bigger expansions too.
All right.
Yeah, I would actually consider, because I think Star Wars' first real expansion, I'm going to say quote unquote expansion, Rise of the Hutt Cartel, was actually technically an add-on, because yes, they increased the level cap, and yes, they added a new planet, a new zone, or a couple of new zones, but the story, whereas when you start out with Star Wars, your story is your character story. Each class has its own specific story, and then it interacts with the world and through other side quests and stuff like that.
Right.
But the Rise of the Hutt Cartel, everybody had the same story.
See, I think that's really shitty that they funnel people into like a forced subscription model, or like you said, they basically penalize you. But then they also charge for content that with FF14 would have been like a normal
patch.
like a normal 2.x or 3.x patch. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think really I want to draw that comparison really to commend Square Enix on the amount of content that they delivered. It's staggering. It really is. Like, I know that there are people who have already poop socked to 60, and like, you know, people who got through the story, within the early access period. Yeah. And we're belly aching on the forums like, oh, we're already done with it. Yo, why? Oh, this sucks.
You dug your own grave on that.
It's like, congratulations, you played like 300 hours over the first 10 days.
You made your shit shake. You eat it.
But yeah. So overall thoughts. Heavensward v other expansions.
I mean, it stands alone. I think there's already. I mean, we've already established that there's already more, through Heavensward than Star Wars in their first expansion, and we haven't even gotten everything yet. We don't have esoteric gear yet. We don't have the rating yet. I mean, and it's already more than Star Wars could give us. And like I said, I never really. I mean, I played WoW after the expansions already hit, so I wasn't like waiting for content to drop like I was with Heavensward. So I can't really compare in that sense. But, I mean, as far as Heavensward goes, I mean, I was sitting here chomping at the bit waiting for the story. Well, and the way that it ended was just incredible.
It was. But, and really thinking back on it, the wait was really not that atrocious.
Oh, no.
Square Enix did a really good job at giving us little tidbits over time, Gold Saucer, stuff like that, like giving us stuff that extended the overall life of
boredom preventer
of 2.5.
Story missions on each patch. Like, if you think about it, we finished the initial Heavensward story, but each 3.x patch is going to have a huge more chunk of story to come.
You know what? Let me ask this to you guys, though, okay? Because I think that me and Juxta have a better base of comparison when it comes to pacing than anybody else does. Because in World of Warcraft, for every patch, there was like a 2 to 3 month period where everything died, including global economy on servers would just bottom out because nobody was playing at all or buying anything. And when it came to an expansion, we had to wait 3 months for Heavensward when things like really started to bottom out.
Yeah.
In a general sense, if you weren't world first, we beat Binding Coil, 2 months ago, 3 months. Whereas World of Warcraft, you're waiting a year.
Yeah.
You are waiting a year from when the last patch drops until the expansion starts back up again.
That is a staggering amount of content.
It's insane.
You have BlizzCon, and they announce an expansion. A year goes by, and they're still talking about the same expansion they announced last year. That is atrocious.
Square Enix, like seriously, if I were to give them an award for anything or really commend them on something, the pacing of their game is fucking immaculate. The way that they come out with patches and keep you playing.
But when you look at Square Enix as a whole, how long has 15 been now?
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Final Fantasy 14 here.
Yeah, plus
Miss Kyanian.
Well, hold on, Nika, because this is also from an MMO standpoint. This isn't just about how long it takes to get a game out. We're talking about being able to sustain the life and keep people playing without them dropping their subs while they wait for new content to come. They are amazing at that. There has never been a point in this game where I felt like I don't have something to do.
Thank you so much for your call and sharing your point of view, your perspective with us about Star Wars as well as WoW. And Heavensward, I think you guys are absolutely right. Like the pacing of the content is really amazing, and I'm already thinking about, okay, so next week we're going to get Alexander, and then, we're what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out of probably another patch, maybe another 2 months out of another patch.
Yeah.
The pressure's on, man.
It's not, though. It's not, because by the time the next patch drops, they have things set to go. They have the Beastman tribe.
I feel like the pressure's on. You know what I mean?
For Square Enix?
No. For me as a player.
Okay. All right, no, I get that, because Square Enix, they already have their next play lined up. You got Beastman tribes. You have the Relic quest coming. You have more gold. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
They have all of their ammo locked up and in the barrel, and they're ready to go.
Especially because it's 1 week till Alexander Hard and then 2 weeks until the extreme mode. And then it'll be people are going to be grinding that for a while before the patch. I don't feel like there's going to be much downtime at all.
There's no downtime.
And that's what I'm saying. With that kind of of forward endgame progression that you're getting that, like, yeah, dude, 3.1 is going to feel like a kick in the balls. Like, I really don't, like, it's going to feel so quick.
We're not going to be prepared
for it. We're not going to be prepared
you
for
are unprepared.
We're going to be grinding through tomestones, like, at a breakneck speed, but we're still not going to have everything ready to go by the time 3.1 hits. There's just no way.
Well, I mean, like, you know, I'm definitely not a world first player. I'm not, you know, like, a huge in terms of, like, endgame progression. I like, you know, the pace that I've chosen for my play, but, you know, I just feel like anyone who doesn't necessarily poop sock through everything is really going to feel like this content is delivered at a very, very fast pace, especially compared to other MMOs. I mean, you know, again, we all have context for FF11. I feel like FF11 is the only game that I have a context for in terms of pacing, but yet I still go back and I paint that shit in rose-colored glasses. Like, I'm like everyone else, where I'm like, oh my god, fucking Treasures was amazing, forgetting that we were waiting for a lot of that content for almost a year after that expansion dropped.
FF before Odd Ergen was complete. I don't even think I got all of it because I can't actually remember, like, the last.
You didn't play Wings of the Goddess at all?
Yeah, you did. You
I must have. Yeah,
because you were playing campaign.
Then I guess I don't understand why Odd Ergen was so good because I don't remember any of it.
I think it had the most content that didn't require.
I'll give you that it did have the most content, and it had some of the best content. You know, assaults were a lot of fun, salvage was amazing, but, like, storyline, I don't remember any of that shit.
Well, the
storyline was so good.
Yeah, the storyline was really good.
Wasn't Chains of Promathia good?
No, it wasn't. But
okay.
A few things are
fair. That's all.
Although,
of that is
if
fair.
you get a chance to go through and do Wings of the Goddess's storyline, it was outstanding.
I got halfway through.
No, I actually wrapped that up in my interim.
You?
So,
what did you think of the end? It was great, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Were you sitting there at the end just kind of like, ugh?
It was good.
Yeah.
I'll do it in November.
I hated that memory collecting quest, though. That was fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Still,
I think that's
to this
the
day,
quest I'm on when I quit.
Yeah, well, because it's bullshit. It's still bullshit with the fucking, you know, quick teleports around. It's still bullshit. But yeah, no, I again, you know, Heavensward, staggering amount of content right out of the gate. I don't understand the bellyachers. I don't understand the people who are complaining that they're already out of stuff to do. Juxta, I feel like you
anyone saying that.
Oh, well, you
Is
have
it, like, mostly on guild work or
no official forums.
It's just proof though that no matter what you do,
of
people
course,
will complain.
well, no, because of people of the smart people avoid official forums like the fucking cancer.
Because I mean, I feel like I play fairly regularly, and I'm nervous that I'm not going to have all my log gear before Alexander drops. So I don't know how people are bitching already.
No, you're
because
going to poop
socking it.
Because there are poop sockers. I mean, crazy poop sockers.
No matter what, someone will complain. No matter what SE does ever. That's what it is. Like, that's the fundamental truth of life, is that someone will complain.
Yeah, I feel like the people who are probably complaining is someone who's like, let's say you're a career healer, okay? That's all you do is you heal for your raid, okay? So before early access was done, in like 3 or 4 days, you're level 60. You and, you know, 3 of your other raid partners, right? So then within 2 or 3 more days, you have the highest possible item level gear from grinding those tomes out in like a 48-hour period, and you're like, all right, now what? I need my raid. We're ready to go. Give us our raid,
you have
Square
to do
Enix.
hunts to get that.
And it's like, come on.
Oh, I do want to. Before
I can bitch about the hunts.
Oh, it is not an LBR episode if we do not talk about hunt drama, because we're definitely going to talk about hunt drama
and free company housing.
Come on, guys. What is this, episode 10?
Well, hunts are worse now because we have instances. Oh my god.
Okay, so
but there's also twice as many of them if I'm correct.
No.
Here, okay, we'll get to hunts at the end, but I did want to pose a question here. Given and I think Juxta and Nika, you guys will be able to answer this. Given where the content that we're at, what we're currently grinding right now, what we've got at endgame, comparing it to other games that have been adding to forward endgame progression, because in subsequent patches we shouldn't be skipping backwards in content like we had with Crystal Tower, where we would have one patch that would push us forward in endgame progression, and then we'd have like a catch-up patch. What do you guys see in terms of endgame progression at this point? Like, what are the tools that Square Enix has laid out in front of them? What do they have to work with? And because like I don't see us getting any more primals. We don't have any more fucking beastmen to work with, so we're not going to get any more EX primals probably. So where are they going to take that?
In terms of the eye level moving up, I mean they've gone extremely off of their original path. Like I think each new update we got and the new set of gear gave us like 20 eye levels. Here we've jumped from 130 to 180 with 195 weapons. So where they're going to go from here is kind of hard to tell. Like the Alexander Hard and Alexander X, is that going to bring us to like 250? I don't fucking know. Like,
well, no,
jumping like crazy.
No. But I mean, like, what I'm asking is like in terms of like in terms of like the style of fights or the style of content that they're going to be delivering. We've got Alexander Normal and Alexander Extreme, which are basically analogs for, like an 8-man Crystal Tower and your binding coil, right? So you've got kind of those two ends of the spectrum covered. We know that we've got to have a 24-man raid in there somewhere.
Right, but I don't think that they're going to be doing the backpedaling thing simply because of how far in eye level they're jumping.
No, I don't think so either. And what I'm hoping is that the 24-man raid content is going to be actually challenging 24-man raid content instead of like dumb.
I will say only if I will agree with that only if it's possible and people are willing to do it as free companies rather
That's
than
what I'm
queuing
saying.
up as one
I
party
think it would,
where you get a group of people who are trolling or a group of people who just suck and you can't do it with your free company.
No.
That's where the problem is.
And but I think don't you think that kind of content might be cool if it's content that's so if it's content that's so challenging that you can't really duty finder it and it requires you to get 24 people out of your fucking free company. I mean, like,
you want Dynamis.
But it's larger,
but not as boring.
Yes.
Yeah, well, not as
less boring
yes.
Dynamis.
Yeah.
I think you guys are wishing to wish here because
I'm speculating. Wishing is different from speculating.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. They could give us the 24-man content that we saw with the looking for raids, give you the option to duty find it or go in with the people that you
could. Yeah, well, they could separate that like they did Alexander into a normal and extreme. So that's a possibility.
It wouldn't even have to be separating them into a normal and an extreme. Just have the option to go up to the little portal thing that lets you enter as a preformed group or to go into party find.
But I mean, you can already do that.
I'm nervous about the state of our community because with the way that people are, they bitch if they don't have great access to content. Whereas in 11, if we had to have 3 alliances, people on standby to kill 1 NM, people didn't give a shit. But in this game, if there's content that's just so hard that a duty finder group can't do it, even if the option's there, this community will bitch about it.
Well, it's conditioning your player base.
I completely agree, Nika. The player base will bitch about it, but I think that the devs have justification for introducing content like that, and here's why. They couldn't do it with Crystal Tower because they didn't have the functionality built into the game to bring a pre-made alliance into the content. So they had to make it face rolly because they knew people were going to duty finder the shit out of it. Now that functionality exists, I think that you can ramp up the difficulty with justification and push people towards doing it as a pre-made group.
I agree, and Lokark in chat is saying that a 24-man pre-made is scary to think about organizing, but when I think back to 11, I mean, we used to organize like 3 full alliances with healers and tanks and DPS.
This is an MMO.
This isn't 11, though.
Yeah, I mean,
this is about conditioning your player base.
Free companies do nothing right now.
Jux is saying conditioning your player base is important because in 11, everything about 11 prepared you for suffering and pain.
No.
Everything in 14 does not.
You guys have no fucking clue, okay? Putting together an alliance in Final Fantasy 11 was a means of, all right, everybody get in there and now just start going at it. You died, let's switch them in. And there was no mechanics in 11 that you had to work around. You want to talk about a fucking nightmare? Try to do something like Binding Coil with 24 people where one person goes down, fucks up everything, okay?
So true.
We did 25-man raids, and in some cases, what was it? 50, if it was Cthulhu, 50-man raids?
40.
40-man raids. You people have no idea. You can think you think you fucking know, but I am telling you, you are not fucking prepared for that shit. You don't even know. Holy fuck.
That's true. I do remember hearing a Nero occasionally on those turn 9 runs, raging at somebody.
About one
wait till there's
person.
16 more people who can fuck it up.
But there's a see, the thing is though is that those are razor line mechanics where if one person fucks up and you're only in a party of you're only in a full party. If you have full alliance mechanics, you can make one or two people wiping a recoverable mechanic.
We hope that they make that a recoverable mechanic.
Without making it retarded.
Punishing, though.
Because Crystal Tower, even before we had the eye level increase, Crystal Tower was morons could do it. You could have 90% of your alliance wipe. If the mob is at 15%, there's a pretty good chance that if the rest of the players are competent, they'll be able to take it down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just make it
You're talking
harder.
about a difficulty increase, though, because of it.
Yes, a difficulty increase, of course.
Obviously, the looking for raid is face rolling. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying. That's you make it harder. You make it more challenging, and you also do the same thing that they did with Binding Coil of Bahamut, where they force you to queue as a pre-made party before opening it up into Duty Finder. That way, you're forced into learning it as a free company, and then boom, you have free company content where there is none. There is none. And that's really my issue, is that there's no free company content because there's nothing that incentivizes it.
In terms of organizing it, there are leaders of free companies. They have their roles, and they currently organize workshops and housing.
Oh,
and
no, yeah, no, I absolutely
if there was
agree.
content, those people would step up and make the organizing. That's why they run the free company, so I'm not too worried.
I 100% agree. I just hope that you guys know what you're getting yourself in for, because I don't know how many times, like, on your raid night, right, one person's been missing, and you guys, and someone is like freaking out, like, I can't do this, we're done for the night. And that's replacing one person. But when you have 25 people that you have to organize, it is not fun, and I would not wish that upon my worst enemy.
That's why free companies have multiple people, and that you get so many people that go in. If someone doesn't show up, you grab someone else. If you have more than enough, you make two groups.
I feel like... Hold on. Do your free companies have more than one group running Coil? Do you have three groups?
My free company is extremely inactive because there is no reason to do anything with them.
And
they are literally just for the house, and that's it.
Nika, that's a great point, but I do have a very large free company, and when Coil was at its, like, when it was, like, really current and people were still getting through it, yes, we had 3 active statics.
Okay, here's the thing. It's not going to happen because Square Enix has never mentioned anything about adding free company content like that.
It's only what the community has been asking for.
But they've never said anything about having free company content like that. So.
Again, I'm gonna call you out because I think that this comes from a personal place because you guys are in a sucky free company. And you don't want to be. You guys,
you're not even saying that it's free company specific events. You could plug up and be able to do this. So
absolutely.
So it's not coming from a personal place.
Well, then what's the fucking problem?
I'm saying it's not going to happen because Square Enix has never said that they're going to have 24-man hard content.
He's not saying he's against it. He's just saying he's seen no evidence that it's coming.
It's not going to come.
And to be fair, let's look at the stuff that they've added that the community has wanted. Story mode.
But we do know that there is full Alliance content coming. They've said nothing about it, period. Not that it's going to be hard or easy, but we do know that it's coming.
They've said that there's going to be free... that doesn't mean anything, though.
Not free company, no, but of Alliance content.
Well, they mean the Crystal Tower.
Right.
So it's going to be easy.
No, what I'm saying is, Square Enix, if you're listening to me, what I'm saying is, make it fucking hard.
It's not going to be hard.
A Nero.
It needs to be.
A Nero.
It needs to be.
It won't be.
And then, and if it is challenging, that incentivizes free companies to band together.
I think you're just butthurt that the company airship was a retainer. That's what it amounts to.
I'm a little mad about that.
No, there is literally no free company content. There's no full Alliance content. There's nothing that incentivizes having a free company larger than 8 people.
So don't be so darn butthurt.
Why have the free company system then? Why not just have link shells?
Yeah, the free company
so they can buy a house.
Is extremely pointless.
Buy your own personal house. Make your benefactor give you the money to buy your own personal house. Because that's because that's what it's at this point. I mean, like, you guys, like, if you, I don't know what you guys would do if you were forced to get into a good free company.
So what you're really hoping for is that SE will dick over their tiny free company to benefit your humongous free company.
Not necessarily.
No,
I just want to have a personal good laugh on the show.
Oh, okay.
No, because the thing is, even if they come out with this, that doesn't screw us over in any way, because we'll just go the Samus Rageborn way of it and pug it.
But
if we don't get it done in the lifetime of 3.0 when we're level 80, we'll go back and do it in 4.0.
Yeah, free story mode.
So, I mean, here you guys are. You sit here and you fucking advocate get good shit, and then you sit around being bads. Like, you're fucking terrible. Like, listen to the shit that you're saying. You guys are the problem.
Again, they're saying they don't think it's coming.
This is why. Well, okay, fine. You don't think it's coming, but this is. I mean, if you think that this is the kind of content that's not needed in this game, then this is the reason why Square Enix dumbs down content, nerfs jobs,
needed.
and makes shit fucking easy.
It's not that it's not needed, just based on what we have or what we've seen. We don't think that there's any evidence that that's what they're going to do, because you're exactly right. They do dumb shit down. That's what they do. They make things easier. So why would they suddenly, go left with it and be like, all right, now we're going to make things really hard?
Because it's expansion time and
hold on. But that's the thing. With Heavensward, what have they really changed about the status quo? Like, what is the different dynamic with Heavensward?
Absolutely nothing. And look at how
why are they going to change anything?
But look at how many bad players are able to experience all of that content.
You just hit the nail on the fucking head. That's the point. You want your players to feel like they're getting everything. Why would they then introduce content that only a fraction of people are going to be able to do?
Not a fraction of people are going to be able to do, but increase the difficulty level. Put something out. I mean, because
if they
Binding Coil was a challenge for most of the player base, but the people who are world first, the people who are doing that shit, they chewed through it, and then they went back to turn, Second Coil Savage, and then they never made another Savage version because nobody does that shit.
If you get your wish, they're also going to put in a story mode.
Probably, and that's probably okay, because then that'll shut up the bads. But don't not put in challenging content for large groups. That's what this game needs. It needs it. I've been saying that it needs it for a while. Nika, you want to back me up here?
I agree that it needs it, but this goes back to how the player base has been conditioned. Because I swear, like we were saying, there is this hard content that only a fraction of the player base is going to be able to complete. We've already found that with Coil, people bitch they need a story mode because they can't experience the story. Whereas like in 11, people who couldn't do Absolute Virtue or Pandemonium and Warden, those people didn't give a shit. They're like, whatever, that's
and you
not
know
for
what?
me.
And you know
but
what?
in this game, everyone wants to do everything, and it's just the way that the community is going. So where I feel like for someone like me and for someone who wants a big free company and wants harder content, I think this game needs something like that, because there are plenty of players like me who want that, but I feel like the more vocal part of the community is the opposite, and they will be louder in their bitching.
So here's the way that you roll out the content. You roll it out similarly to how they rolled out Binding Coil of Bahamut, where you can only queue at first with pre-made parties. That forces you to either queue with your free company, or it forces you into Party Finder, like all the other endgame content, right? So then that'll get people in the habit of farming talent from their free companies, or building their free companies up to have more talent accessible.
Right, because if you release it at the same time, then a lot of people are just going to be like, well, I don't care about the harder stuff, I just want to get it done.
Right, give that time where you can only queue as a pre-made, then you put it out there so that you can queue,
Yeah, that's fine. And actually, I think they have a similar release schedule or technique in World of Warcraft when I played, where the raid would come out first for a few weeks, and then it would be put into Duty Finder.
Right. And then after all of that, then if people are still bitching for a story mode, fine, I don't know. Man, make a fucking make a Crystal Tower version of it.
The other thing that you run into
when they dumb down, like, there's now less HP and petrifaction doesn't kill you in one hit anymore, and that kind of stuff.
Well, that kind of stuff too. But also, all of those people who are fucking whining and complaining that they want Coil story mode, go do Coil now.
Yeah, no,
you've got your story
that's
mode.
That's absolutely true.
The other
which we called
congratulations.
6 months ago. We called that eventually it would be nerfed via getting stronger.
Yep, and the other thing that you keep mentioning in FF is that people didn't bitch and complain about it. Well, that's because they never gave into it. It was always that way.
Right.
Everything was always so hard that you either did it that way, you didn't do it, period. But because they've already given into this mentality of getting an easy mode or getting a story mode, they're not suddenly going to not do that.
Well, that's what I was mentioning earlier about conditioning your player base. In 11, you were trained to expect pain and suffering, and you knew SE was never going to cave on it. So you either manned up and you did it, or you said, I've got other things I like doing in this game. In 14, SE has on multiple occasions allowed things to become easier and has made it possible for you to just wait it out for it to become easier. And it's going to be hard for them to now recondition their player base to expect something different.
Which they're not going to do.
I think they have the perfect opportunity.
Heavensward is the opportunity to do it if they're going to.
Yes,
if they don't do it now within the next 3.1, 3.2, they're not going to have another opportunity till 4.0.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. This wipes the slate clean enough that they would be able to do that.
And Aniro, I agree with you. I just think the three of us are sitting here saying they've not done anything that leads me to believe that's their plan. They've not tipped their hand at all if they're planning to do it.
Even if you were to do that, the general masses, right? In this case, it would actually be the vocal majority. If you started not gating things, sorry, but if you just started making things harder and trying to condition them to a way that 11 did, you would have people saying this is the worst expansion ever. Why are they doing this?
No. I think you misunderstand me. I'm not saying make things harder. I'm saying that there is specific content that needs to be introduced that has a challenge level that also, because we had been saying that, an open zone where free companies can go in and fight NMs and, compete for NM claims and stuff like that, that would be cool. And while that would be cool, I don't know that we're going to get that, but we do have the
that I don't think we did. Would get. But the idea of coming out with a 24-man raid that you can only pre-make at first and then maybe a patch down the road gets added in easy mode, we could see.
Making it with the being explicit about it. This is supposed to be designed to be difficult content, because we've only got forward endgame progression. They can't go backwards. What population would they be serving? What level population would they be serving? What player base population would they be serving by not having forward endgame progression? And we've got a bunch of patches to get through still. You know what I mean? So we have precedents that full alliance raids are a thing.
Yep.
That they're going to be a thing continuing in Heavensward. We have the ability to make full alliances now, and so I think Nika's right. The opportunity is there, and the opportunity to set the precedence is there. And Square,
and you guys were saying that they haven't done anything at all yet to show that they're doing that. Look at the new dungeons. When they said they were going to add coil mechanics, I thought they were going to make harder dodge mechanics, but no, they legitimately took coil mobs and stuck them in dungeons.
Which ones are you talking about? From which dungeons?
But it's piss easy.
The Rafflesia is literally a mini T6. There's Devours, there's Bees, there's the draw-in. All of that stuff exists in that Rafflesia fight. It's easy if you've ever done T6. But
it's piss easy anyway. It's piss easy no matter what.
If you get in a group with someone who's never done a single endgame raid in their life, though, it's a little difficult. They get eaten every single time, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not as penalizing as it was in T6.
They get eaten every single time, and you still win.
The research facility, the last level 60 dungeon.
Spoilers.
Okay. There's literally a mob that will turn into mobs from Coil and use moves from Coil. They flat out took a mob from Coil, stuck it in there, and said, "Here's petrifaction."
Okay, but what we're talking about is a difficulty increase. You can't just say, "Oh, look, they're preparing us for it because they put Coil in the dungeon." But it's easy.
It's okay now, but remember, if you actually did Coil, petrifaction was so hard to pay attention to. But if they start, I think they have to start small with this player base. They have to start with little things like, "Hey, I'm going to stick petrifaction in a dungeon. If you don't turn around, you're going to get stoned." And I think this player base needs to start. It's easy because it's one mechanic, but I feel like hopefully they're going to build that up over time.
That way, you can't give easy content and then make it hard, or those people are going to bitch that it's getting too hard.
But that's what I'm saying. Don't give the easy content at the end. Give them the break at the end.
I agree with that. I don't think that putting coil mobs into these dungeons is preparing them for it. I don't think that.
Well, no, but I do think that coil was. Because enough of the player base was able to get through Coil, they said, like, look, we can reuse some of these mechanics.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And for the people who didn't, it does feel sort of like a penalty. Like, look, you didn't experience all of the content. You won't have context for how of these.
But they can learn it, and so then I think as the content gets harder, they'll be a little bit more prepared.
Yeah,
but is the idea to train them then that, so yeah, you might get devoured, but all I've seen is people get devoured and we win anyway, so why pay attention to that mechanic?
So what kind of evidence is that they're preparing us for something hard?
All I've seen is, coil mechanics. Coil mechanics don't matter. I don't need to pay attention to that.
Well, I'm not saying that, like, in terms of the difficulty in the content already present to us. I was more thinking, like, is there like a spot on one of the zones where there's like a big thing off in the distance where it looks like we could get a raid out of that? Like, you know how we had Crystal Tower? Crystal Tower was on the Mordona map, and you could see it. It was really obvious, like, oh, we're going to be going there and killing some shit.
That yet, but I haven't really looked.
I feel like we're going to go back into the command ship in the last zone, Alice Zale thing. Because I feel like one dungeon isn't... Yeah, that place.
So really,
I feel like that... Well, they have to go back there because they haven't... spoilers. They haven't finished anything with the Warring Triad yet. So we're going to go back there.
Okay.
And really, what you're kind of trying to say, what Nika's trying to say is, like, we may not have seen the evidence that this is coming, but us... LB Army, Square Enix, like, if you guys want harder content, this is your chance to ask Square Enix for it, because this is Square Enix's chance to actually make a change and give it to you. So if you want it, demand it. Now's your chance.
I don't think we're ever going to see
that's why I'm advocating.
So I think the people who are complaining are much louder, regardless of how much the rest of us ask for
Oh boy, are they ever. The bad's always complain.
Hold on, it's not even that, though. The last time we had hard content was Second Call of Bahamut Savage, and they have the numbers to show how many people actually did that, and no one did it.
But the difference there, and I will agree with the Nero here, that was added after the fact. There was no reason to do it unless you were one of those smaller people. If they would have added Savage Coil or Savage Second Coil first, like, that's it. Here's Savage mode. There is no regular mode. There is no easy mode. It's just Savage. A lot more people would have at least attempted it than they did at this point. So I will agree with the Nero in that sense. If they add it first with the intent of dumbing it down, I hate to say it, but then that's probably the only way they're going to get away with it.
Well, and it is important to note that Savage was the original design for how Second Coil was supposed to be presented overall. Mm-hmm. So, that's how we ended up getting it in the first place. But the other point that I wanted to mention was that I'm not what I'm not advocating for is Second Coil for a full alliance. That's not what I'm asking for.
No, you want 24 content.
I'm asking for full alliance content that is not a fucking joke.
Look, some happy medium somewhere. There has to be a happy medium somewhere between Turn 9 Death and Crystal Tower.
Come on, look. Think of how much we dick around in Crystal Tower. I mean, how much we dicked around in Crystal Tower, even when it was current, brand new, fresh content.
Didn't we do a Crystal Tower run without our job crystals on?
I really like the idea of open world content, like having something where you have your Fafnir camping, but like where you can go and farm something and pop a monster. Why does it have to be in an instance? That requires you to do. You can duty finder that, but if it's something in the world, you have to form up with people to do it.
The problem with that is, just take a look at the hunt system. You have so many people going in to do one thing, and then you want to make that like an end game thing. Like, I wanted to have open world stuff too, but at this point, like, after seeing the hunts revitalized, and it's like, you can't have that many people trying to do the same thing at the same time.
It's hard to judge it right now because the game is so fresh that is what everyone's doing. As the content's been out for a little longer, it'll start to spread out.
It won't though, because there's not as many level 60s right now. There's going to be more and more level 60s coming in.
No, hang on. No, Ascalia's got a point, and this is good. This can transition us into our hunt conversation. But what The thing that I did want to say was that Square Enix has been very clever about ways to work around that in the past, and they did it with FF11 with pop items. Pop items is something that we've not seen make a return.
That's where I was going to go with
in FF14, which I think would take care of some of that issue.
Especially because we have a free company bank where you could have people in your free company go out, farm the pop items, stick them in the bank. Once a week, the leader goes through, sees what you have, and you organize people and you go. How cool would that be?
But how is that any different from an instance, though? And then really the only
because you couldn't just duty finder up for this. You'd have to get your people in your free company to go together and fight.
Depending on how they do it, though, then you're running into problems like a lot of stuff on Odin back in FF11 is there would be like 2 or 3 of these really high-end game link shells that they would like monopolize on stuff.
Let's get in line, everybody.
Right? Okay, that's fair. There is, systems like that do open up to griefing, but it also opens up to a market economy because if you can buy and sell the pops, then you've got a brand new source of
what Gil be useful? No,
like there's I think that's a new and selling the pops would make people bought them. And I don't think that would be as fair.
It has plus and minuses.
I don't know, but the thing is, the other thing that Square Enix also used to do is that they used to go on a gradual progression system of NMs. So the first tier pops would be like really easy to get. You get them from normal mods,
like ZNMs,
yes,
and then as you progress with we killed this mob, and then it has a chance to drop the next pop item. I think that's a way that you can structure it. So there's a lot of competition at the bottom end of the spectrum, but that's not where the value is. The value is at the end of the progression of that series of NMs.
I'll agree. If they take basically Sky, where you could trade and sell stuff, and combined it with how ZNMs had easy earlier access, I think that would work. But I think that also when you use the pop items, I feel like you would have to have it be an instance, like you would go into an instance to fight them as opposed to popping them in real-world situations, because then you could run into, like let's say every single Monday night, that's when you guys do your pop items, right? So you show up and now here's some new link shell that's sitting there, and you're just going to sit and wait? You're going to cancel for the night? You run into that?
Yeah, but the only way to get into the instance is to trade the item to the pop thing. It's not a duty finder.
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Right. Keep in mind, 11 only had them open world like that, because they really didn't have the technology at the time to have separate instances for every little thing like that.
I agree. No, that's fine.
Which is exactly what I had suggested with the airship things, which turned into ventures. But it's basically, if you throw airships on top of that and make that a required part of it, then it funnels more people into it, and that's how you would get
And Nero won't be so butthurt about his retainership.
And speaking of butthurt, we also have a caller who is waiting patiently online. We have Uki... what was your name? Uki
Miyoshi?
Uki Miyoshi of Hyperion.
Hey, what's up, Yuki? What's up?
Not much, guys. How are y'all doing today?
We are
hot
very
and sweaty.
Good. We're very, very good.
So, I can see that.
So, you want to chime in on what we're talking about here?
I've been wanting to chime in on the expansion for a bit. I wanted to talk about the expansion comparison you guys did a little bit earlier. And in that instance where you guys were talking, I know one of you guys had said, do we compare, the NA release of 11 to 2.0?
Right, mentioning
and when there was a no, but with the Zillard piece in it, I guess you can consider it, okay? You can consider comparing Heavensward to the NA release of 11 because you, instead of using it, the Japanese had the base game. You have the PC users and PS4 users, PS3 users had the base game of A Realm Reborn. Now your Mac users are getting the combo pack to play it all from scratch to catch up.
So, I guess there is a bit of an analog with introducing it to a new platform like Mac, but I don't know, man. I
don't feel like that's a big enough market.
It's not.
It's different in 11 because in 11 you still had to do all the old content to really make anything worthwhile. Where in this game they've dumbed down all of the Realm Reborn content so much that even if you're starting on a Mac, you're going to be level 60 really quick.
Yeah, they put the fast forward button on all of that stuff. They They never did that for 11.
And that's an unfortunate part of it. But also the one big thing about 14 compared to a lot of, well, not a lot of, particularly 11, is in 11, you had pieces of gear that were in the 20s and 30s that were still relevant at 75 back when you had endgame progression.
Sure.
Roger's ring.
So,
Sure, and I actually think that you get a little bit of that with the release of Heavensward, because what you're seeing is that gear that you're getting out of quests designed for like 51, 52. I actually haven't stopped to look what the level cap on that is, but if it is above 50, you've also got this entire pool of gear that spans eye levels that would be appropriate for people to equip well into 52, 53, 54, right? So there is a little bit of that, like a little bit of that overlap, but not much.
No, it stops at like 55.
In this game, in 14, Heavensward in particular, I know I was full I-130, BIS Paladin when I got right to the expansion. And I sat there and I told myself I'm not wearing any non-greens, non-blues, and I didn't start replacing gear until 54. 55.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah, if you're 130,
the first few levels give you like I-125 gear. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the second dungeon gives you like 130, 133 gear or something like that.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's not until you get to like the third dungeon that you actually start getting stuff that legitimately starts replacing your old gear.
If you were best in slot.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're best in slot.
Right.
Yeah.
I still had some 120 pieces that I was first dungeon. Oh, sweet. Got those off finally.
But I will say this, that overall, Heavensward has done a phenomenal job as an expansion coming out, and it's shown great face for Square Enix, for Final Fantasy XIV in general, but the MMO community has taken a big grab to this, and I wanted to bring up this topic a little bit, see what you guys would think.
Sure.
And that's, what do you guys think about these popular streamers that normally never touch the game on stream, with the release of it being streaming 10, 12 hours a day and bringing a lot more attention to the game?
So you're talking about streamers who normally don't stream Final Fantasy XIV, but are now that Heavensward has released?
Correct.
Before
we talked about this one.
We did. We had an email about this on the last show, but so because we've talked about it a little bit. How do you feel about it?
Well, I love it because I feel like these streamers, they've got they've got big fan bases that are coming in. I'm going to use a perfect example as Towley. Mm-hmm. He's an infamous World of Warcraft raider, has a huge following, thousands upon thousands that watch the stream every time he's on.
There's no way if you were on Twitch for early access and for release day and then the following weeks, there's no way that you didn't notice Towley, because he was always pinned way at the top of the channel.
Yeah, he was, and on top of it, he was pinned high enough that he was dragging Final Fantasy up into the top 5, top 6 games overall streamed on Twitch.
Yes, yeah,
just from his popularity.
No, you're absolutely right.
But all these streamers, they're coming in, they're experimenting with it, because some of them played a little bit of A Realm Reborn, found it all right, left because they didn't find that there was more enjoyable content for them, maybe before some of the patches came out, and then they come back just in time for Heavensward. And Towley, I specifically remember watching his stream earlier this week. He was asked to rate the expansion. Mm-hmm. And he sat there and he had nothing but positive things to say. And when you get these type of streamers that are coming out because of the quality of the expansion, he brought up when the early access started. A lot of people had trouble logging in the first hour and a half. The mass congestion hitting the servers to the point that sometimes you get the lobby errors and take you a bit to get in. Yep. But he said, a majority of the player base was able to get in relatively quick. There weren't huge queue times with the exception of a few servers. And he said that's something unheard of with expansion. With
expansion launches. You're absolutely right. Juxta has been claiming credit for this prediction.
You're welcome.
All week.
You're welcome.
And you were absolutely right. The amount of server problems that there were during early access, I would say that there were virtually none.
So minimal.
Very few.
Belmung was standing for the first 2 or 3 hours.
Belmung, but Belmung has a high population anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
it's the highest, isn't it?
I think it is. But
the most vocal at the very least.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
It never took me more than 5 or 6 attempts to get past the 2002 error.
Yeah.
I had the one night where I had trouble logging in for about a half hour, and then it was over.
Yeah, and for Q, I don't think I was ever over 30 in line.
I was never over
the Q
12.
always takes super quick. It's like not even 5 minutes.
Like 30 seconds.
Not even. But Yuki, I want to echo your sentiments here. That I think that streamers like Towley getting involved in FF14 and pushing the channel as high as 4th, 5th, 6th in the top 10 of games streamed on Twitch. It's fantastic. All it does is gets more people interested in playing this game, in checking it out, in interacting with it, and he and all credit to him. It's not like he would come on and dick around with it for an hour. Like it's sort of like when I streamed ESO, I dicked around with that for 2.5 hours, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to go do something else. It's not like that. Like there are definitely very popular streamers who are becoming invested in Heavensward, and I think that is fucking awesome. And I really want to encourage everyone, when you're checking out their streams and interacting in their chat rooms, to show them what an amazing community I know that we are. We get to sit around here and be assholes and yell at each other and have fun, and that's what we do here on Limit Break Radio. But whenever you guys are in chat and whenever I go into any other FF14 streams, you guys are always the nicest community to interact with, and I really hope that continues in these very noticeable, visible streams, because we have the best
community
MMO community
continues to grow with all these other people getting invested in it.
And that's another thing too, is even if a lot of these bigger name streamers, I'm sure we noticed over the Heavensward weekend, our numbers for streams maybe weren't as crazy as we thought they would be.
It's true.
And the bigger streamers may have pulled from, but in the long run, more people getting invested in Final Fantasy XIV streaming only benefits us.
Will eventually bring them to us.
Eventually, yes. I think right now they're kind of overshadowing, the more devoted, just Final Fantasy
We're the mom
streamers.
and pop stream.
But I think in the long run, once those big time streamers, I think will eventually, they stream multiple things. And I think if the people who are watching them eventually think, hey, I really like that game, let's see who else is streaming this. And by the time all the big name streamers have moved on, there will be the devoted smaller group left, and those people will eventually start to flourish.
Damn Walmart streams.
Well, and really, we don't even want people who like to watch Heavensward is one thing, but really what we want is we want to convert people to players.
Right.
But I think that's the ultimate goal, and exposing so many people. I've seen numbers for Towley in the 5, 7, 8,000s before. Which is amazing and sort of unfathomable, except for our podcast downloads. Our MP3 downloads are up there.
Hashtag humble brag.
No, there's no humble in there.
It's just bragging.
I don't know. The way you said that was kind of a little humble. That one was a little humble.
It was fake humble, but we could taste the humble.
Well, think about when we break 100 viewers occasionally on stream one night, and we're sitting oh, we got 100 viewers. Can you imagine trying to entertain for thousands in a night? You'd be sitting there what do I say right now?
I think the more people you have, the easier it is when they're actually talking.
When they're talking.
Because my biggest problem is getting things going when I don't have a lot of viewers. But if I even have just 1 or 2 people who are actually, engaging me, it's a whole hell of a lot easier.
I always find, though, that when you have, the lower numbers, that's when they're the most vocal, at least in my streams. Maybe
that's you're unique.
You're weird.
What can I say?
Thank you very much for the call, Yuki. We appreciate it, and a great suggestion for a bit of discussion there. And of course, we always welcome anyone who's just starting to Twitch for Final Fantasy XIV. They're always welcome.
Come for the Final Fantasy XIV. Stay for the dick jokes.
Yeah, stay for the rump cock.
Stay for the dickings.
So I did want to kind of move the discussion a little bit into the hunt drama that's going on right now.
There's hunt drama already?
There is hunt drama already.
I hate the hunt.
I'm already crying over it
so much.
People are saying that the tone is toxic. I mean, we're going right back to people.
No, is it literally the exact same thing again, or is this because Nika kind of mentioned the whole instanced problem?
Yes, I think it's worse because of the instances. We're on a server that's high population.
Explain the instance.
An instance is where you have a high enough population in one of the big zones, whereas they basically have a copy image of the same exact zone, so that to filter the lag, so that it's not so bad.
Yeah, the first time I've ever seen this done was Guild Wars 2. You would go into what's called an overflow.
Yes.
You don't get to see like the main population of the server because you're kind of waiting to be transferred into there with everybody else.
That's not how this one is, though. This one is literally just 2 copies of the zone.
There is no overflow. It's just
There's an instance 1 and an instance 2. And so what happens is when you teleport in, it just puts you in whatever one has a lower pop.
Yep.
And so the hunt may only be, say, an instance 2, but you teleport into instance 1.
Ooh,
and everyone's gathering at instance 2, and you're like, shit. And the only way to switch instances is to walk out and zone in on foot.
What if you go into someone's party?
You choose your instant. Doesn't matter. I was in a party of people who all teleported. Me and Surin ended up in one instance. Everyone else was in the other.
That's a big problem. If you're in a party, it should put you where your party is.
We had to fly out of the zone, walk back in, click on instance 2, and by then, early pulls had already gotten it, Hunt was dead. We were teleported into the zone way before everyone else, but we were in the wrong instance, and I was pissed.
That does seem like a systemic problem that Square Enix needs to fix. Like, that does seem like a huge problem. But, Juxta, what have you experienced?
You know what? I'm not even going to care, because I still can't get the hunts before they actually,
I've made it to like 3.
I need to get to 60 so bad so I can see if I finally, with the new PC, if I've gotten over the whole hunt problem that I was having.
It won't help because I've been trying to do this for like the last day or so. You know, I shout for please invite me, and no one invites me. And by the time I get there and I get at a party, it's in one of those shitty parties with like 2 DPS and a healer, and they don't do anything. And I get 3 seals and 10 law, and that's it.
And the thing that people are really upset about is that hunts are basically the barrier for entry in terms of progression for gear.
Yeah.
Again.
I mean, the law gear gives you 170, and the only way to upgrade it to 180 is through the things you get from the seals. However, they do give you 3 sets of daily hunts. You get them at level 53, 56, and 59. And if you actually take the time every single day to do all 3 of those sets, you get a pretty decent chunk of seals.
You're probably actually getting more seals from that than you would be trying to do the hunts in most cases.
I think I've already gotten my weapon upgrade item and an accessory upgrade, and I've only made it to 2 actual hunts. The rest of them are just from daily.
As long as there's an alternative way to have a steady stream of seals coming in, I think we'll see the whole instance problem as people all get to 60 and start spreading out more. We'll start to fix it.
That S ranks give 100, whereas like the level 3 dailies give like 13.
Right.
So
I understand.
Okay, well, no. If you do all of the marks, you get, I believe, 80 seals per day.
Yeah,
which is a
lot. Like the
good
level
amount.
Ones, each monster you kill gives you seals. So like the level 1s, there's 5 of them, and each of them give you 3 seals. The level 2s, each of them give you 4, but
how
the
much
level
does
3s,
it cost to
each of them
upgrade a
give you
piece
15.
of armor?
So like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 15 times 5 plus 4 times 5 plus 3 times 5. So that's a lot.
An upgrade for the weapon is 350. The armor is 300, I think. And I think
then
the accessories
are like 100 something, 150.
Okay, so accessories you could do every other day, and then the armor and weapon you would basically get
just have to save
once
up for
every 4 days if you're saving up for it.
Right. That seems fair.
Yeah,
it's really fair.
Yeah, it's like anywhere from 2 to 3 a week. That's not bad.
And it's like once you get 53, you can first of all, and not to mention the seals, but actually they give a nice chunk of XP. Every monster you kill, you only have to kill 2 or 3 of each monster, and you get like 20k XP.
Okay, but there's a much more important point here that I want to mention is that in 1 week we're going to have Alexander, and then you have an alternate method of getting getting equivalent gear.
That's what you have to look at. Okay, yeah, this is kind of this is an annoyance trying to get to these hunts because of the instance zones. But if the zones weren't instance, then what are we looking at?
Exactly.
All of the 4 lands going down. You can't enter this instance. Emergency maintenance on this instance. So it's gonna suck, for like a week or 2. But in the long run, it's gonna fix itself.
I just want to point out that Vanderan in the chat made that exact same point. An alternative alternative in just a week. People
Do
need
we
to
know
stop.
that Alexander is 180? Did they confirm that?
Do we know what the level is on that?
I don't know that that's confirmed. I have no idea.
Because I think what people are speculating is that to do Alexander, they need to have at least 170, if not 180.
That's always going to be the mentality. I have to have the best gear to do this so that I can be at my best. But it's not going to stop them from going in.
Right, but it just makes me wonder, like, the endgame dungeons give you I-160 gear. And, I mean, I wonder if you just have a full set of green gear, if that will be enough for Alex
I'm
Norman.
sure that'll be plenty.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised.
Or even having the 170 gear from Law. I mean, it's not unreasonable to have to farm a full set of Law, considering how cheap it is and how much Law you get per
it's not that
thing.
expensive.
Obviously, when it comes right down to it, obviously gear to a certain extent matters, yes, but being good at the raid you're about to go into is the whole other thing. Having the best gear possible isn't going to save you from one-shot mechanics anyway.
So I think the point is that quit complaining about hunts. It's going to be fine.
It'll be fixed soon.
It's going to be fine.
Please look forward.
There's alternative.
I assume that after the congestion dies down, that they'll probably remove instances eventually.
I would hope so. I
Some
think
servers had them on early access. Our server didn't get them until actual launch day.
Yeah. Because I never noticed it during early access, but I have noticed it since.
Yeah.
So, well, I hope that that's just a temporary measure to relieve congestion, and at some point we'll be able to, remove it. But the point is, quit complaining about hunts. It'll be okay, except for that the instance issue. That's a pretty legit. That's a pretty legit complaint.
But considering the alternatives, I don't think it's that.
I mean, they also have fates that are like Odin that don't show up on the map, and they're only in one of the instances too. And so that's when people are having a hard time trying to get in that instance. And then at least the fates last longer than the hunts do. So you can usually get to those.
I do think that they're only temporary. So it'll get better. Don't bellyache. It'll be fine. All right. I think that was a good discussion, guys. That was a really interesting discussion there, and hopefully Square Enix was listening, and that we're able to bend their ear and give them some ideas.
Hi.
Yeah, is that Square Enix language?
Hi.
Oh man! All right. So, do we have our guest ready?
He hasn't talked to me.
Really?
No, I can get someone else in though.
Yeah, sure. Let's get another caller to end the segment.
Okay. All right. Hold on one sec. He's coming in. So his name is Paul Bunyan, and he's going to be talking about company crafting from Hyperion. Paul, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, Paul? How's it going, man? Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio.
Hey, guys.
The most normal name we've ever had.
Feeling
call.
pretty
good. Yes. So, way to add to a fantasy game, Paul. Taking me out of it. God damn it. My immersion. Anyway, so what's up, Paul? Thank you for calling the show.
Not too much, guys. I've been Paul Bunyan since my Final Fantasy XI days back in 2008. When I first started there, I was endgame paladin for like 4 years, so that's where I come from.
You didn't even use an axe, man? That just seems sacrilegious.
I had warrior level, don't get me wrong, but I was more useful to my link shell as a tank. They had all the DPS that they could handle, but they were running desperately low on tanks, and it just so happened that I had paladin leveled.
To be fair, warrior was the only job less useful than dragoon, so fair enough.
Then getting me in the link shell also brought in an endgame thief along with us. It took us a while to finally get her thief's knife, but that's a long time ago, and this is what we're going to be talking about now. So I wanted to talk about company airships and company crafting.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about company airships. The biggest disappointment.
You mean retainers?
Yeah, the
company
retainers.
It is effectively a flying retainer
right now.
It has no inventory space, so
it's the worst retainer
spend all of that. You put all of this resource into it, and then what you get out of it is something that will eventually bring you back ingredients to improve itself.
Yes.
Wow.
Hey.
But you know what? Do they do now? When you send them out, what do they bring you?
When they do finally improve this, right, everyone's going to be bitching because they haven't done it so far, so they have really shitty airships, and they can't get to where they're supposed to be to do their free company crafting.
Content.
This is true. Actually, there was one thing that it didn't bring back that wasn't a material to use to improve it. It brought us back 14 Tier 3 Dex materials on its first voyage.
Wow.
That's
a
lot.
That's not bad.
If you can bring 14 Savage Aim 4s or something, that would be cool.
I was like, what are you using Dex materials for?
No, that's true.
It's RNG. That's all that is.
Yeah, probably
Bendering.
just crafting the crafted gears, just to improve them before you get your I-70 gear from Law or.
What kind of improvements do the items do for the ship, though?
What they are ingredients for crafting the next tier of airship, and to be honest, it's a bit complicated. You start out with your free company workshop with level 1 crafting recipes for all the airship parts, ethereal wheel table, and a couple of other things. I can't remember what they are right now. But it's just housing facades. The other stuff you have to unlock by using I want to say it's a schematic table. What you do there is that you use materials that you bring back. Specifically for the airship, you need what's called bamboo weave. Bamboo weave, you get it. I got a couple of them not too long ago. We had 6 in one trip and 11 in the last trip that we sent it out on. So we got the Tier 2 recipe for the airship now.
And that makes it bigger and expanded and
probably
cooler,
just makes it come back faster, gives it increased odds of finding better stuff.
That is correct.
Okay.
So what we're doing right now is that we're gathering materials to make the next tier of the airship. We haven't got a whole lot of our gatherers off the ground yet. We're starting to work on that today, but it requires some pretty exotic materials. You need to have what's called Vivianite as one of the more prevalent metals that you're going to be using to increase just to craft the new parts. Vivianite turns into Garlean steel, but it requires let's see now. It needs 3. I think it needs 3 Vivianite ores, some dark steel, and some cobalt.
And you mentioned about getting. You said that you're still trying to get all your crafters off the ground. So you guys are doing this as a free company.
Yes.
So this is your free company content?
They've added free company content. It's bringing the free company together to build an airship. And you were right.
Nero
good
looks
job.
murderous right now.
But what's going to happen, right, is that eventually the airship will be used to go somewhere else. Right?
That's the thing that they keep saying is that you're going to use
right
the
now,
airship.
When you send your airship out, it's charting, it's mapping the area, it's bringing back materials, you make it bigger, and once you get it bigger and badder and bester, then all of a sudden it's hey, I can now take my free company to the sky.
And wait, now question. Now it maps areas that we can't go to once we get flying mounts, right? This isn't
I think theoretically, yes. It's mapping
actually,
the sky land.
That's what I wanted to ask. When you send it out, is it when you tell your retainers, say, "Hey, go do a quick exploration," or do you actually pick a destination for it to explore?
I've seen a map part of the HUD, but what's the deal there with unlocking regions, or is that not a part of the system yet?
All right. So on our first voyage, we unlocked a new area to go to. There are 2 areas that you're allowed to explore at the first. They require that your ship be level 1, of course, and the higher tier levels that you unlock as you go along require a higher tier of airship. You also rank up your airship as it goes out. It actually earns experience and levels up. So once it reaches a certain rank, or if it requires a certain level to go to a new area, you have to level up the ship in its rank, and then also increase certain aspects of its body. Are
these areas that we can go to on foot, or are these areas we can't get to yet?
Well, it's probably just Sea of Clouds.
Yes, exactly. The first area is Sea of Clouds. There's 2 locations within the Sea of Clouds that you go to. I can't remember what the third one is right offhand. I've never been there yet because we haven't got our airship ranked up. It can only go in trips of 18 hours, and that's it. You can't go it on any shorter trips, and each time you go, you expend a ceruleum tank, which you have to buy with company funds.
Yeah, so when it's going to a place, there is an an actual place it's going to. But
right.
I would
was just
assume
wondering
that,
if like your airship was theoretically going to like the Skyland we can't go to yet that we will eventually go to once they add it, or if it's literally just like, no, we're going to the Dravanian Forelands.
Well, I'm sure that if they do end up adding like we think they are, that the places you go with the airship isn't going to be accessible with a flying mount.
That's essentially correct. You can't go to these places that you're going to with the airship on your in the physical in-game world on the flying mount.
Okay, yeah. So then if they start adding shit to do when you get there, then it is literally what I had talked about.
Yeah, so I hope your free company doesn't skimp out on making the airship now, or you guys are going to be behind the ball.
No, they're already working on it. I don't have to I don't have to think. I don't have.
Wait, are you helping?
No.
So they added your free company content, and you're not even participating?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I don't need to. That's why I have a good free company.
Wow. Okay.
See, if you guys wanted to participate in it, you would have to like
do work.
Yeah, put in a lot of effort.
I think you underestimate
they don't know what that is.
I think you underestimate the riches that our beneficiary has.
Still might take time. Still might take effort. So anyway,
Paul, like let's get to like what everyone's thinking about here. You sound like a pretty cool dude. Obviously, you're hanging out on the server. Is there special lady you can take on the airship with you? Do you get to have a good time, both literally and figuratively?
Unfortunately, no. The ship is piloted by a Mehmet.
Oh, you don't want to stick your dick in that. That's for sure.
And Nero would know.
Yeah. Well,
I had.
You get lonely and drunk once, and
Except for you, it's not just once; it's all the
time. When you go in the company workshop and you look up the information through their help desk, it pretty much spells out that anyone that's in the free company at this moment in time is not going to be able to use the airship for transportation. It was spelled out that a Mehmet will be piloting the ship, and it'll be going on exploratory missions, and that's pretty much it. There's no place that you can physically go to once it's mapped out so far that I've found with your free company to go and get materials. The airship does all the work by itself. It's like the Mars rover.
Yeah. That's I don't know. That's a little.
That sounds really fun.
Well, okay, but for just being released, I mean, even look at our raid content. We don't have all our raid content yet, so if they just roll this stuff out gradually, it kind of makes sense.
But it's even more about like what you do when you get to the places that it unlocks.
And again, it all comes down to pacing as well.
Yeah, right.
This place is boring.
Paul, thank you so much for your call and giving us a little bit of insight into the airship crafting, something that of course none of us knew a thing about, but we do appreciate your perspective on that. All right, so it is time to move on. If we haven't heard from our guest, have we?
Sure haven't.
Okay, well then
we tried.
Then it's time. We got to move on.
Good episode.
We got to move on. Now the thing is that we've only got time for one of these two segments that we've laid out here, which is of course emails, which we do almost each and every single week, or we could do limit breaking music. So I would sometimes leave it up to the chat, but they're going to be on a 30-second delay. I'm going to leave it up to you guys.
Again, we do emails all the time. The emails that we have will be relevant next week. We haven't done limit breaking music in a while, and that's a lot of fun.
Let's do limit breaking music.
We're going to do limit breaking music.
I vote for emails.
Shut up.
You would just be difficult, wouldn't you?
You don't get a say.
What? I get a say.
No, you don't.
I totally get a say.
Microphone now.
No, you know what? Aura have only been in the game for like less than a week. So as far as I'm concerned, they're second-class citizens. So by changing from a Makote to an Aura, you have to re-earn your keep all over again.
You don't live here. You don't live here. Where are your people? I don't see them. Where are they? Where are they in the world? Where are they? Answer the question.
You're refugees.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
We're around.
So sit down, shut up, and prepare for the music, bitch.
So where are you? Where are they? Where's the big collection of Ora? Where can I go to find your brethren?
We're too cool that we don't have to hang around with you squares all the time. So we're just around.
So it's only so you and like the couple of other people that felt like
somewhere
switching.
in Doma, aren't they?
Yeah, somewhere in Moradona. Find me where that
Doma.
is.
Doma.
No, I thought they fled Doma.
But not even the Domans, like the Domans that you interact with in a lot of the cutscenes. A lot of them aren't even Ora.
Yeah, it's just Yugiri and a bunch of humans.
That's pretty much it. So how is it chilling with?
We're unique, and I get to have relations with Yagiri.
And you also don't get a vote, so be quiet.
All right, so we're going to do limit breaking music. This is, of course, our segment where we take a look at some of the musical talent in the Final Fantasy XIV community, of which there is an abundance. There's a lot of really cool stuff that really cool remakes, covers, remixes, original music, as we heard with the Heavensward track the first time that we did this segment. So why don't we check out some other super cool musicians that operate within the Final Fantasy XIV community. So our first track, Kahlo, you actually picked most of these out, right?
I did, and it was actually kind of hard because you didn't want to repeat a lot of the people that we've featured thus far.
Right.
And you're like, go ahead and check out all the stuff I favorited. Well, guess what? That's all you favorited was people that we've used so far.
No, that's not true.
But I did find some.
If you did some digging, if you actually
I dug.
Spent the time.
I spent time.
I don't think you did.
I did because I got people on here that we don't use.
Okay.
So
all right. So let's bring up the. Oh, I can't. Okay, hang on. Let's bring up the video. Video? No.
Do we get video with it?
There we go.
There we go. Cool.
Yes.
A lot of these don't have a whole lot of video, but it's fine.
No,
the music's what's important.
But okay, so our first track comes to us from DD Music, and they are doing this Dragon Song solo guitar cover. Why can't I hear it?
I don't know. Why can't we hear it?
I can't hear it either.
There we are.
I can hear it now.
The stream definitely could hear it. Well, we couldn't. It was a short in the cord.
I'm gonna mute myself so I can hear it too.
Okay.
Hard.
Bye, Nika.
So glad she's gone.
Bye.
Now. Oh shit.
Hey, I can still hear you.
Nika, we're listening. Shh. Dragon Song already has this way about it that's very sort of simple and singular.
Sure, yeah.
That really makes it very serene, gives you a tranquil feeling. And the fact that all we're hearing this on is just an acoustic guitar, I think, amplifies that idea. And what it reminds me of, actually, is, when you're out in Falcon's Nest, and sometimes you'll get that little bit of ditty from Dragon Song in the music.
Yeah,
it's just like concentrated.
Well, they do.
That.
They use the musical reference a lot.
Yeah,
way more so than Answers. Answers, I don't think you got the same sense that it was a repeated theme musically throughout A Realm Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in 1.0, but I don't recall. I don't think so. But way more so in
absolutely.
In Heavensward.
And like I said, it kind of gives you that feeling of solitude, which makes sense.
Yes.
Given the way it's supposed to be. And whenever you hear it, is like I said, I notice it mostly when I'm out in Falcon's Nest. But when you're just running through on your chocobo all alone in this vast wasteland. And there it is. And I think that they use it very well.
It reminds me of like when you hear the Distant Worlds version of Dear Friends, how he's playing it pretty much solely on guitar, even with the choir or the orchestra in the background. That's what you focus on, and it really stands out a lot like this does.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is that I think it also reinforces Dragon Song as the theme for the expansion.
Yeah.
Juxta had mentioned when Dragon Song had first come out that he didn't feel like it had the same impact or connection that Answers did. Yeah, and I think that they've reinforced that through a lot of the reuse of the same musical themes.
Yep.
And D&D, DD Music, doing a great job with this. With this
it hasn't been out that long, so he would have had to figure this out himself, right?
Yes.
Like he didn't just get tabs from someplace.
Probably, yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm gonna guess.
It doesn't look too difficult.
I could never do that.
The people who do music by ear just astonish me. It's just...
I suppose it's probably like like once you figure out how to do it, like they can. It's probably easy for them, but like the idea that he just listened to this, like, oh yeah, that's this one. Like, nope. My life depended on it. Wouldn't have been able to do that.
My brother's been trying to be able to play the Crystal theme on his guitar, and he hates that song now because he can't get it.
Well, and structurally, a lot of the Final Fantasy music is very complex. This is a little bit more simple, very open notes, simple melody, and not to detract from the talent of the video. It is very very, very good. And the fact that he was able to figure it all out, and I mean, fuck, I can't play an instrument.
Right? Yeah.
And I really like how sort of solemn and slow. He takes his time. He doesn't rush through.
Yes, I think it is slowed down a little bit.
Like, you
more,
could replace the piano versions from the cutscenes with this and it would still work.
Yes, it would.
Well, and it would also give it a different flavor, too. I mean, it would have been nice if they had used some different instrumentation in some of the different versions that they did. So, yeah.
He unfortunately, DD Music doesn't have a whole lot of other stuff up on his YouTube channel, but he does also have a guitar cover to Answers, which sounds, sort of has it gives the same strengths to that as what he gives, to this rendition of Dragon Song. And he also has something from Tales from Earthsea, which I have no idea what that is.
Tales of Earthsea is a great Studio Ghibli anime that it's really underrated. It's one of it was on Netflix for a while, which is how I was exposed to it. But I think it's also based on a book series too.
I think so.
Yeah. It was one of the weirder Studio Ghibli affairs. So, yeah.
So good. Oh, right here, this is it. I just picture sad Tataru in my head right now during that little part. Tataru, don't be so sad.
Actually, I want to point out that since DirectX 11 has come out, my character's sad faces are extremely sad, and her eyes glisten with tears every single time she gets sad, and I'm just like, oh, so sad. Like, I can see the eyes glistening in every sad face.
Oh, that's funny.
That's so good.
Well done. Yeah. Well done, DD Music. Well done. You can find that by searching Dragon Song solo guitar cover on YouTube, which is where we found it. We'll also have links to these at our website, limitbreakradio.com. Well done, man. Well done. All right. So we've got a couple of others here to check out as well. Kahlo, again, you
right? Yeah, going selected right down the list. And this is actually it looks like I've selected two of the main themes. So actually what you're about to see next from Dragor is another guitar cover, this time featuring Answers. Now this one's a little bit different. It's not just straight acoustic. He's actually does the guitar over top of the original rendition of Answers. And it adds just a different kind of level or a different layer to it.
Yeah, he does keep the original playing, and I got a little nitpicky thing to point out here in just a second, being an audio nerd, but we'll go ahead and check this out again from Dragor. Here's the guitar cover of Answers.
You got a pretty good intro thing there. He's Dragor 3.
I prefer Dragor 1.
The video's pretty cool, I gotta say, with
the way that he does it.
Yeah, where he's got the end of an era going behind him, and he's sort of like layered over top of it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this isn't acoustic either. I'm sorry. He uses electric guitar for it.
I think this is great. I love what he does with it and everything. But the thing is that the background track is so blown out and overmodulated.
It is a little bit louder. Yeah,
it is. But it distorts, and that was really. I'm an audio nerd, so I hear stuff like that. But
being able to hear this though in like a rock cover kind of way, it adds another level of like hardness to it. That's a weird word to use, but like, I mean, this is already a really rockin', cutscene and song already.
Yeah.
But this gives it like such a punch.
When I hear this, I sit here thinking, wait, why doesn't this song have electric guitar in it? It's a song that really does call for it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I kind of hear that modulation you're talking about. But I didn't until you said it, asshole.
I hear these things, man. I'm like, oh, that's peaking. That's peaking. But you're right. It does. It gives an entirely different feel. I'm going to be honest. I'm totally going to cop to this. I've been waiting with bated breath for a husky version of Answers, which I don't know that would ever happen.
Covers the
he does. Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Blow it out of the water.
Hey, Husky, hop to it.
I don't know if I can go so far as to say that I like this better than the original one, because Answers is just so amazing, but this rock version is so good. It really is.
Well, the second part of the song kind of has more of a rock feel.
It does.
You realize that's where he started. He didn't start at the beginning of the song. He started right at the
he didn't
That's
pick up
true.
with like the almost Gregorian chant start to it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I think that part of the song is way harder to work with.
It would be.
Yeah, because it's like,
impossible.
but it's a harp. It's only a harp thing.
I don't know. I'm sure that someone could figure out a way to do it.
I bet Husky could.
I bet Husky could.
Oh, I love this bit.
So good.
I like his video work. It really does add a lot to it.
Yeah,
it's really simple too.
I like how you can like see through the light, like his hands, and like he's not just literally over top of it. Like,
right,
he's in it.
Well, there's definitely some value to the way he's gone about that.
Absolutely.
It would have been so easy just to play the original Answers video over this background, just the regular video,
right? Or just to have him,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. He also has he does almost the exact same thing with Dragon Song, is his other cover that he has, and that's Dragor, and you can find him on YouTube. Really, really good though. Really good.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Shout out to Dragor. Make sure that you check out his YouTube page.
And he was another one that he didn't have a whole lot of videos. So if for how some way that Dragor or even DD Music hears us, hears this, we want more stuff, guys.
Yeah,
we need more stuff. Do more of that.
Come on,
more things. Yeah,
make it happen.
Which one are we putting up next here?
Your choice.
All right. So next up, we have Final Symphony or Final Symphony Beats, A Day in Thanalan. This is another one where I think they take the original track and then they sort of bring their own unique styling of music and overlay it. And basically, they take something that everyone's going to recognize and be familiar with, and they amplify it in a way that you didn't realize you needed this. Guys, this song always reminds me of the Sultana.
Well, of course. I know why it would. It makes sense. I would like to say that, if you listen to the stream a lot, if you listen to the radio, the Shoutcast stream a lot, this is a song that we do air as a part of that. It is a part of our rotation.
There it is. Starts coming in nice and slow.
Yeah, it's
you know what?
It's very well done.
Something that I think more songs in Final Fantasy XIV needs is more drums and more bass and stuff. There is a song, wait till you get it, that when you get to Mogholm, if you go outside using the stairs that go up to the top, there's a song up there that starts with really deep drums that is just so cool.
Oh, yeah?
It's so cool.
Nice.
Oh,
I like that. I like the artwork too. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Hot Makote.
Yeah, I'll bet you are.
I am a fan. I'm a fan.
Are you sure you wouldn't prefer to be a mammoth?
That's a thing now. You made that a thing.
I did?
A Nero fucks mammoth.
Oh, okay.
That's a thing.
I was saying it was not an enjoyable experience.
Still a thing.
Okay. So this has been around for a while. Final Symphony is a guy that I've followed for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's fallen off a little bit in terms of stuff that he's put out. I don't think he's put out much in the last year or so.
I noticed that too.
But he does have a really good library of remixes from Final Fantasy, from anime.
Lots of anime stuff.
Yeah.
I saw like Kill la Kill's up there, Queen's Blade, Attack on Titan's Fairy Tail stuff. Yeah.
So if this is the kind of shit that you like, I mean, this is just so chilled out. And I should mention too that there's a lot of people have sampled this Thanalan version, the Twilight over Thanalan, a lot. Like, this is a really common sample for 14 remixers, and Final Symphony, dude, just nailed it.
I'm not usually a big fan of just straight up remixes, because I feel like a lot of time they'll take the original track, they'll do their own thing, then just layer them over each other, and the songs, I mean, they'll usually sound cool, I guess, but the songs don't ever feel like they don't flow and intertwined like very well. It's like they just took their own thing and slapped it on top. Exactly, it feels natural.
Right,
absolutely.
It feels like you could play that and people would believe that's what the original song was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like you could totally work that into like a DJ set or something, and I don't think anyone would have been would be.
Hey, that's a
wiser.
remix.
Everyone would just be like, oh, this is super chill.
Yeah. Now this next one actually, Nero added.
Well, himself. Yeah, I did. But last plug for Final Symphony, you can find a lot of his stuff over at SoundCloud.com/Final-Symphony, and super cool stuff if you want to check that out. So yes, this one I added to the mix because I found this a little bit more recently. And I'm so taken with this band. It's called Resolution, and now I know that the music that they're performing here, it's actually our outro music, and so they're stacking up against Husky by the Geek, which, I mean, it's really hard to get better than Husky by the Geek, but I got to give Resolution a shitload of credit. I think they did a great job. So let's check out their track.
Show's over, guys.
Time to go.
I love the drums in this. I think the drums really stand out to me.
When you said it was the same theme, I was worried it was just going to sound like Husky by the Geeks version of it, but it's completely different.
It's got a way more garage band feel to it.
It does.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a criticism. That's not a bad thing. I love that. I mean, I'm a Detroit guy. I love my White Stripes. I love my Jack White. So I think this is so cool.
And actually, I think that kind of sense goes really well with the Chosen Thumb, which...
You hear the drums? Mm-hmm. I love that tom ride there. That's great.
The way that it sort of bounces around too between the different instruments, taking different prevalences at certain stages of it, reminds me of the fact that this is a boss fight, right?
Right.
So when you're thinking of a fight and you're watching things, like if you picture like what a music video from FF14 might be, where it'll focus on the tank for a minute, then the healers and the DPS doing their things.
Here's the moment where the mob's blowing up.
Sort of like each of those different parts would be a different instrument. The tank being a lead guitar, the DPS, the drum, it just, I don't know, it feels right to me. This does sound really cool.
Yeah. The other thing is I could tell that those are real drums. Those are not electronic drums, so...
Yeah, good ad. Good ad.
Yeah, I am really a fan of Resolution. You can check them out, SoundCloud.com/Resolution the band. But don't just check them out on SoundCloud, because this is a band that is dedicated to covering mostly Final Fantasy XI music.
Ooh, really?
That's right. Ooh. Resolution is a reference to the weapon skill. So they've got an album that came out in May 2014 called Run Wild. You can find out more information about that at runwildalbum.com. You can pick it up there for $11.11. It has got the best version of Promethean I've ever heard, ever, anywhere. So fucking awesome. Make sure to check that out. They're working on a brand new album to coincide with the conclusion of Final Fantasy XI. called Rhapsodies in the Key of Death Minor. Here is a tentative track listing. Ruler of the Skies, Kazam, which he's posted a preview of. Amazing Kazam music. Hell Riders, On This Blade, Tough Battle. And get this, if you check out the website over at runwildalbum.com, look at the blog. He's taking suggestions for other music you want to hear to celebrate the end of Final Fantasy XI. How cool is that shit?
That's so awesome.
How cool is that shit? And he's still posting stuff to his SoundCloud all the time. He did a nice little melodic comparison of the Heavensward theme and one of the 11 themes and then combined them. Check that out. SoundCloud.com/resolution-the-band. Absolutely worth your time. And this version is just so good. It's really good from beginning to end. I mean, I love Husky's version. I love Husky. It's our closing music. There's no way I couldn't love that music. And I just think that this is so good.
I like it.
So good.
So good.
Resolution, the band. Again, you can find out more about their music at runwildalbum.com. And that, I think, is going to be it for Limit Break Radio for this week.
Real quick, I need everyone to put a date on their calendars. August 14th, 3 p.m., that's a Friday. I'm going to be hosting a charity live stream that weekend. It's going to be a marathon playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII, start to finish, or until I black out, I guess. But I'm fully intending to go some 36 hours or so, at least, to finish the game. All proceeds during that Twitch stream will be donated to a charity benefiting people with gender identity issues, because that's a big thing for me. That's kind of my cause that I've taken up. So if you guys could obviously tune in for that, I'm going to need all kinds of help with people, chatting and moderating the stream and let me know when donations come in, all sorts of things.
Yeah, we want a nice big turnout for that.
Absolutely. And 100% of proceeds from that event will be going to a charity benefiting gender identity issues.
There you go. So join us, Golly, for that. Put that on your calendar. Important date. Notice. Make sure you do that. So that's gonna be it for Limit Break Radio. But that's not going to be it for the stream for today, guys. Here's the thing. We're going to, just like the old school LBR, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with the premiere of our brand new show, Final Encountercast. We're probably going to take like a 30 to 40 minute break, so we encourage you guys to hang out, listen to some music, while we got to get a couple of things set up. We're trying some new things with the show, and we think you're going to be excited. So please, please, please hang around. And stick around for the premiere of our brand new show, Final Encountercast. If you're listening right now on the podcast, Final Encountercast will get a double posting on our website, limitbreakradio.com, so you can check it out there, at least for the first episode. We're trying to get a website put together for it, and then that can be found eventually at finalencountercast.com.
And keep in mind, this is what you've been waiting for, what you guys funded, which is the general gaming show.
Yes.
So if there have been friends that you have been trying or wanting to get into LBR, but they're not really into Final Fantasy XIV, now's your chance to bring them into the fold. This is something that we hope that a lot more people can get behind and a lot more people will be interested in. So start sharing it around and bringing people to us. We shall assimilate them.
Yes, we will. We will. So, yes.
Holy crap, we got through a limit-breaking music without Garleans taking over.
Wow, look at that.
That's
Bite your
amazing.
tongue.
Yeah, hey, don't jinx us now, dick. So yeah, that's going to do it for Limit Break Radio, but stick around. We've got the premiere of Final Encountercast coming next here on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. I definitely, if this is your first time checking out the show, make sure you head on over to our website, limitbreakradio.com, and subscribe to the podcast. We're available at all, wherever you download your podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever your mobile app is of choice. We're available on all of those platforms, and you can find out more about that at limitbreakradio.com. If you happen to use iTunes, consider maybe throwing us an iTunes review, because iTunes reviews help other people find us, and we want other people to find this show. So make sure you do that. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Limit Break Radio, twitter.com/Limit Break Radio, all things /Limit Break Radio. We're available on most all social media platforms and YouTube. Make sure that you're checking it out, subscribe, come back, and hang out with us often. I do want to thank our Limit Break Radio audience for surpassing the 20,000 download mark on episode number 17.
What?
That was really awesome. I'm so excited that we're growing. You know, we're even able to grow the FF14 audience, even as we're on the cusp of breaking into a general gaming show. So thank you guys so much. You guys make that happen, and that's you can do that over at limitbreakradio.com. And of course, your support is what makes this all possible. The weekly thing, the new show, all of it, that all happens at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. Please take a second, go visit that link, and consider supporting Limit Break Radio for the long term. That's going to do it for the show for this week. My name's Aniro Grigori. I want to thank Juxtaposition, Kalo Landis, Ascalia Rayumasa, and Nika Kayanian. I'm Aniro. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Scry De La Rosa, Zurian Urexin, Satori Komeji, Karkwin Albarn, Rajan Nelka, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode provided by Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.